Hey guys, look who I got on my squad. August, Crawford, and Ophelia. She did have another weapon on her, but I took it off of her. So they start at level 35. Crawford is a paladin. I just added that thing to him, but that was the gear he came with. And August has a polearm and a crucible spear, and I just threw that on. But yeah, I haven't even really Finn is still here, but what is the not Roe, but there was somebody on my squad that was an absolute beast who had Finn's axe. That person left. The one that had the scar on her face. I'm sure there's other people that left too, but I just can't think of them right now. This game is absolutely amazing. And the reason why is, number one, it was made by one person over 4 years. It didn't take 20 years, 4 years. Every time you play the game, you'll have is something different. Like, I played the game 4 times, and there was like, I still have not found the skill ring. There's an endurance ring. For some reason, I didn't get the strength ring this time. But there is a defensive ring. There's a health ring. There's an endurance ring. There's an agility ring. What's the other Blade Master? He left too. The one that, not this guy, but the mute. Those were literally my best 2 characters, and both of them left. But yeah, you get way more characters than you can actually play with. So every playthrough, like, this is my 4th playthrough. I had never found Melanie before. And I had never found Finn before. So Finn had a badass axe. And I gave it to that lady with a scar on it. And oh my gosh, she was unbelievable. She turned into a monster. But there's all different kinds of play styles. Like Melanie, for example, you can get gold for kills. So I mean, imagine, some of these guys, they might get 10 kills. Like Shiva might get 10 kills in one map. You get 100 gold. I mean, that's an extra 1,000 gold per map. There's 20 maps. I mean, that's a lot of extra gold. And gold is one thing that you don't have a lot of. Because, like, these guys up here, they start out with a bunch of weapons, like multiple weapons. Shiva, when she came, she had had a bow, she had a dagger, and she had a regular sword. And I gave her a great sword, but you can get 2 or 3 weapons sometimes on these characters. But the cool thing about Wesley is he's got this aura that increases XP gain, which I didn't really take advantage of. I mean, I used him briefly, but then as soon as I got like Salvador, he was in the group because he started out like at 25. The only thing I don't like about the healers is they level so slow. I got this thing first time I ever got it. I still don't know how it works. But I mean, maybe taking someone like Corvin, who's already like level 21. I mean, I got Corvin like 10 missions ago or more, and the same thing with Talon, who was almost 20, probably 15 missions ago. But here, Cedric just hit 20. I mean, here I could have been using Corvin for 10 levels, and who knows, he might have been level 30 by now. I do like this kind of cool thing about poison, and he can heal, and then he can like reset somebody's turn. I tried to use Jorn because he was already like level 28. I had the endurance ring on him. I was trying to use some kind of bleed thing going with him. I did have a bow on him, but I never really utilized it. But one thing, I think the first playthrough, Marcus turned into a beast near the end. And Skylar and the other girl really sucked. And I think it was my second or third playthrough, maybe my third. I gave Skylar the pole arm, and he turned into a monster. This playthrough, I didn't really use Skylar and Elena. Elena's the one that's missing out of this group. I didn't really use them that much. And because I didn't use them that much, they got behind. And when they got behind, I had to babysit them more and more and more. And pretty much I had to basically just stop using them and keep them safe. Because even if you were up only against one enemy, they could die. And if multiple enemies were charging them, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enemies, you know, of course they're dead. So, I mean, I guess you could go in knowing what you're going to do. But every single mission, basically, you have to keep Marcus, Skylar, and Elena alive. So, to me, you kind of want them as strong as possible. I did not do that this playthrough, and instead I gave all my best gear to the people that aren't even in my party anymore. But Ryson, he was one of the ones that was, and even with his 25% penalty to XP gain, Edward was still 34. Look at his agility, 38. 38 agility. I think that's probably better than Ophelia. Yep. Salvador was an absolute beast. I regret not using Salvador in my last playthrough. And there's one, I think is rune or something that based on how many S's you have, it increases your attack. And I didn't even have that on him. But you see how many S's he has. He has 3 S's and 3 different and two-handed sword and spear and two-handed axe. It'll be interesting to do a playthrough with Marcus. Maybe not as a tank. Maybe he has a two-handed axe. And maybe there's a world where Skylar keeps his spear, because that's what Goran had on him. I mean, to me, it kind of sucked a little bit. But if you're going after bleeds, and I thought the bleed happens when this thing attacks it, but no, it's actually an ability you have to activate. But of course, my bread and butter is the two-handed killers, and like I said, this ain't even my whole party I had. But this guy had a two-hander. This one had a two-hander. This one had a two-hander. This one had a two-hander. And 3 of the guys are still rocking steel. There's obviously better, starts out as like iron. Well, first you gotta go, most of the time you gotta start out with swords. But if you can do iron grade sword, steel grade sword, and then there's a crucible. So basically the difference between the steel and the crucible is it gives you 10 extra hit and 2 extra damage. And I didn't buy this time, but this is a big upgrade from that. Now, some people have heavy bandages, but I would like to see heavy bandages added into this menu of stuff. Because they got light, you got medium, why not have a heavy? Because other people do have heavies on. You look at Douglas, he has a heavy bandage. And look at his defense. I had the defensive ring on him. His defense was 36. And see, Jorah had S's in 3 categories. I had to use Ajax for a couple missions, and then I kind of... But it would be cool to kind of use Finn, just number one, because he starts out so low, but he has this double XP gain. And if you pair him with somebody like Wesley, who have an XP gain aura, he could quickly catch up. Melanie, just for the fact that she can gain money. Instead of Cedric and Phoebe, you could maybe drop one and maybe sub in either Talon or Corvin. I do think having 2 healers is nice, because basically I want one healer just babysitting my 3 main heroes. Because if one of my 3 heroes dies, you gotta restart the mission. Game over. And yes, most people do have bandages. Most other people do have other ways of healing. Like, for example, the Paladin, if he gets a kill, he'll heal the lowest adjacent ally for 50% of their max health. So like Elias, for example, I didn't even have a bandage on him, I just had this. And between that and the Paladin, I kept him right next to the Paladin. You could stick those 2 guys to take wave after wave after wave after wave after wave, and they would survive. I like this guy because this is a great way of dealing with big heavy shields and Nor's enemy shields. Does double damage against armored units, and I think it might be the only. It's counted as an axe, but it's a warhammer. This axe ignores enemy shields too. So if you don't have For whatever reason, if you missed a Warhammer, you can get a two-handed axe. And the cool thing about the Berserkers is if they get like almost dead, they will fortify for one turn and gain 50% health. But I don't think Skylar or Elenia could turn into that. I made Elenia a sword master, blade master. And Salvador to me was the only one that I used that was not a sword master. But he has incredible stats. I mean, look how pitiful like Cedric's stats are. And I used him all the way through the game. And Phobe's not much better. I mean, yeah, the group heal is nice. The full heal is nice. But in most situations, probably a little mend with a bandage, or some maps there's stuff on the ground that will heal you. There's other ways of healing too, like I could have brought another paladin if I wanted to, and had two tanks, or well, I guess I really had two with Marcus, but and Marcus did come into his own near the end. He was 31, whereas like Skylar was almost 10 levels behind him. And one of the main reason was after I stuck this heavy shield on him. But I love the pole arms. Unfortunately, it was only really Elias that really took advantage of it this time. Skylar, like I said, he was just 10 levels behind everybody else, and the two-handers, they're just so good because they can kill two enemies in one turn, and then wave after wave after wave after wave of single guys can come at you, and they'll dodge and they'll kill them usually. They're weak against archers. They're weak if you get hit in the back. But the two-handers are just so good. The paladin is so good. I mean, you could throw him into 5 or 6 enemies and he'd probably still survive. I didn't even use really a single archer near the end game. Archers are really good. I did not really upgrade. Let me see. Well, I did on Wesley. I did upgrade his bow. But I didn't use Wesley that much. He only got a level 22. I think I used him for one mission, maybe 2. And in the second mission, he died. He died like turn 1. But usually the archers, they're finishing off low targets. Sometimes they can kill somebody like 100 to 0. but they can really only kill one per turn. Whereas if I had Skylar buffed out, he could also kill two enemies in one turn. But these Blade Masters, I mean, you can send them into like 10 enemies and they'll kill everybody. And I had way too many of them probably. I think I had 5 or 6 out of the 14 slots. And maybe I should have been a little more, I don't know what the word is, but basically near the end of the game you get better weapons. You'll get these crucible weapons that are better than steel. But the problem for me anyway, is you get those weapons so late into the game that you've already upgraded the steel ones. So even though the crucible ones are better, they're not better than a forge upgrade. And I wish I had Eleni up here because I did have a different sword on her this time. It looked like a fencing sword, to be honest with you, but it actually was a two-hander. It was a little less damage. I wish when people left, they would have left their weapons. Because one two-hander is called, I want to say it's a crucible. This one had a Zweihander. You can see that was 16 damage. And I had some really good upgrades on Shiva, for example. I had no longer exert a zone of control, gain 6 attack. And also, if you have a 100% hit chance, gain a second attack if not already doubling. But there's other good ones. I don't know if those, are the best or anything. This one I had Swordbane. In any combat against swords, gain 10 hit and avoidance and 1 attack and defense. And then Expert, gain 2 attack and 10 hit if you have an S rank or higher with this weapon type. So I of course have a S ranking, so that was just free attack. And I know I was going to try to do it this playthrough. I really wanted to use Corwin. I really wanted to use Talon. Talon's more like a buffer to the archers. But Abigail is a good archer, Ajax is a good archer, Wesley is a good archer, Shiva could be a good archer. She comes with a bow when you get her. Some of these abilities like punch and stuff I didn't really take advantage of, but there were some gear thing, and I sold them because I needed money near the end. But I had all these different trinkets and stuff to choose from. Like here's one, you know, turtle effigy. I got a vitality ring on him because he was getting his butt kicked so much. And you can see the growth rates. And these rings basically are supposed to increase the growth rate. I really don't know how they work that good because I'm missing two of my best guys here. But Shiva has amazing stats when you get her. So does Salvador. But really, Phoebe, and the only good thing about Phoebe, I guess, is when she mends somebody, she also heals herself. But the only thing I was really worried about with these guys is, like I said, they could only use this one heal. Whereas Phoebe and the other one, not only do they have this heal, they got a full heal, and it takes away a debuff, and at level 20 they get a group heal. So if you're just healing, just want a healer, Phoebe and Cedric. But they basically can't really do combat, and they could get taken out very easily if you were not positioning them well. They could get killed by an archer. One guy could get through the front ranks and kill them easily. I think if I would have used Corvin or Talon, they would have had other duties to do besides healing. And like, let's say an archer gets a kill, or let's say they use that horn bow or whatever, they can shoot two enemies in a row. You get 2 kills, you refresh that archer's turn, and maybe they get a 3rd kill. And this guy, adjacent allies get 10 hit. And then the guys moving next to them, I guess, don't consume movement points. And he also has the little poison thing. But just a one-hander, a one-handed axe, I think does okay near the end, because like I said, I got that on Marcus. But that's because the axes have some armor pin in them, whereas the basic swords, I don't think, do not. And I put a axe on him, hopefully that his axe skill is going to go up. Finally, at the end of the game, he finally got a B. So I could have used the steel axe on him, but yeah, to me, I would like to maybe one playthrough use Melanie, use Finn, maybe use either Talon or Corwin, or maybe both, and put Cedric and put Phoebe on the bench. And use maybe 2 archers, maybe Wesley, maybe Ajax. Maybe try to use some of the other weapon types, like maybe the serrated spear. I did have a taunting spear that I had put on him in a previous playthrough. Maybe put the mace on Marcus. There was also like a dagger that was pretty cool. That I sold. There's also when you go talk to the merchant, he can sell you one of the missions. You talk to the merchant right before you're about to board the boat. He can sell you a weapon, but it's very expensive. I think I paid 1,500 gold, and it's only worth like 450. So I did not buy that the second time around. But using some of the other characters, it might be a little slower. The mission where I try to get all the boxes, getting that bottom right box was very difficult because I tried taking my A team that way, and my A team was under leveled. And by A team I mean Marcus, Skylar, Elenia, and their pocket healer, which was Phoebe. And if I'm only going to use Phoebe, I would take the boots off of Cedric. These are very nice. You can run in, heal, and then move out of the way of like a polearm or something that could hit you if you're standing directly behind somebody. Or it could also get you out of archer range. But yeah, every playthrough I've got different recruits. I mean, yeah, a lot of them they're going to be the same, but depending on your choices that you make, there was a pirate that I freed and I let go, and I could have branded them. And I think if I would have branded them, I could have used them. And the Iron Man mode sounds interesting, but the only problem with that is, you know, at the end, I mean, all the guys are like level 35. I even had a guy get level 50 40 one time. So if you lose a guy and you got to use like a level 20, even though they're a tank, if you go up against a level 35 guy, they're probably going to kick your butt. But against like the wave after wave after wave after wave stuff, when enemies are like charging to you, I mean, yeah, I could have set up maybe Wesley behind like a Douglas and behind have next to Douglas, like Elias, for example. And a lot of times next to them, I would put either someone like Dinjan, which I didn't really do very much because the lady with a scar also could do really good against the heavy armored shields. And then just have like Wesley in the background just cleaning up their kills and just holding the line, and everyone be getting 20 extra XP. But I just felt like one Blade Master or one guy with like a two-hander like Salvador is worth more to me than like one healer and two archers, or one healer, two archers, and another tank. Like, they're just so good. Like, instead of like sending 5 people to go deal with the issue, you just send one. And I did cheese it a little bit sometimes when I know where the spawns are going to be, and instead of 3 enemies popping out, I'll stick, Marcus, Skylar, and Elenia or whatever on top, so that only either 0 enemies pop out or just 1. And I guess I missed out on some XP that way. But to me, getting through the mission also was important. But I'm playing on easy. I mean, I did play on normal once, and I wasn't completing all the side quests. I wasn't getting the chests. I was having to restart missions 5, 6, and 7 times. And to me, that kind of just took the fun out of the game. Yeah, I mean, died 2 or 3 times, twice or 2 or 3 times, and get it, that's satisfying. But if you're dying 6, 7 times and then having to redo the mission again, that's a lot. But me personally, I really did not like the long dialogue. But within that long dialogue, there is a big story with a lot of plot twists and turns, and there's a lot of choices. And if you just skip through everything, I guess you're automatically going to choose whatever the top choice is. Like my last playthrough, the one before this, I wanted to get this alternative ending, and I couldn't figure out where it was. I couldn't figure out where it was that you had to make the choice. And I ended up making the same choice that I made the time before. So that was another reason for the whole playthrough, is I wanted to try the alternative ending. And there's a really good ring that drops. I don't know. My guess is it's off. I guess I've been doing the wrong choices or something. But it's a skill ring. So your stat that says skill, it would increase that. And there was a couple playthroughs. Some of my like Blade Masters, I would take a bandage off and stick two rings on them. And I don't really know how much that really helped. I mean, let's say they just, alright, they just leveled up to 35. So I guess there's like a 70% chance you might get one more point in vitality. There's a 60% chance you might get a point in strength. But there's a lot of times you go boop, 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 and you'll get like 5 stat points. Or 6 sometimes. But other times you might get unlucky, might get 1, might get 2, might get 3. And when you start the game, you can set it to either fixed growth or I think random or something. And you can also play Iron Man. But yeah, there was, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There was probably, out of all these characters, probably like 10 I wasn't even using. But for the last battle, I did get three characters. And I did have some money left over. And I could have sold, you know, like, let's say I wanted him just to be a battle axe. I could have taken this off and then gone back to the shop and sold it for some money. Then I could have gone to the forge and alright, well, he needs some more accuracy. And he had one called Guarded, which is when defeating an enemy, fully restore your block. But yeah, later in the game, you get a lot better weapons, and also you get a lot better these things, enchants, like this expert. If you got an S rank, you can plop that on and you automatically get 2 attack plus 10 hit. And then you could pair that with something else, maybe a sword bane. But some of these have pluses and minuses. Very good game, tons of replayability. Like I said, I would like to try Finn, but like I said, he starts out at level 4. But eventually you'll get Wesley, who has that R, so you can pair him with that. And I don't know what his stat growth is. Pretty high. I don't know if sticking the I don't think sticking that thing on there would be a good idea, because that would decrease his XP gain by 25%. But it also is supposed to increase your stat growth. But yeah, and like the game before, I didn't use Salvador at all. I didn't use Jordan at all. So I added a couple new people. I do kind of go overboard on the two-handers, but they're just so good. They're so good. It feels so good to walk up and there's 10 enemies there, and you know you're gonna walk up and kill all of them. But maybe if I play again, maybe, like I said, maybe Finn, maybe Melanie. Melanie is also like an archer, or can use archery. Maybe I'd pair her with Wesley. I gotta figure out something for Jordan. Maybe Jordan. Maybe use a pole arm on Jordan. And who knows, maybe keep Skylar with a stupid little spear, and maybe the spear I had on the other guy, put on him, and that way you can put a shield on him and he can have a little bit more survivability. I don't know. There's a lot of different options. There's probably a lot of different ideas. But the game is really good. And it's very addicting. I mean, good Lord, I've done 4 playthroughs. And the combat is very good. But also, I would like to be able to use more abilities. Like, he does the heroic charge, but the problem with heroic charge is it'll go 3 tiles out and kind of push people away. Sometimes you can get a kill with it. But sometimes you're far away enough from a healer that you can die in the meantime. But there's also other abilities, like Marcus has like a punch ability. But just his regular attack's like 41. Now this Berserker one, he has an ability where you could do like double the damage or something. Dealing and taking double damage this round of combat. And you would fear them, and they lose 3 attack and 20 hit. So I stuck it on this guy. But if you need more weight capacity, there's an endurance ring that you can put over here and they'll gain the ability to have multiple weapons. And maybe even someone like Wesley, maybe instead of making them a pure archer, you could also have a shield and a sword as well. But I think switching weapons, I don't know if it takes a full turn or I don't really know how that works. So I was kind of keeping them either an archer or whatever. But yeah, you could definitely have multiple weapons on different people. You know, here, because I got this big heavy shield on, it says weight 9. I couldn't really have a two-hander. I could, but I'd have to probably get rid of some of this stuff. But yeah, maybe keeping Skylar with the spear. I don't know, with a shield, and then when you start getting the good weapons, like this one for example. And utilize bleed more. I don't know if I got another good pole arm. I know I've had a couple, but I got one on Elias here, the bill hook, and I got one on Skylar, which is the pole hammer. And the one that's on Finn is called a long axe, which sometimes acts a little bit like a pole hammer, a pole arm sometimes, but it acts more like an axe most of the time though. But yeah, if I had to rate this game, I'll give it an A+. If A+ is, if it's an S, it may be an S+. Very good, very good. I mean, the only thing I wish that there was, even if you were skipping the dialogue, that it would stop the game and say, hey, this is a decision here. You know, and there's, I don't know, maybe 10 spots. Maybe not that many, but where you got to make a decision, you got to make a choice, and other times there's allies on the field or enemies that you could talk to, and maybe they'll join your calls. And that's how I missed Melanie and Finn. I never talked to them. And you have to talk to them during combat. And like the pirate one was very difficult because it said something like you got to take them below 50% health, and then, but don't do the killing blow or something. And the problem with that is most of my guys are made to kill, one-shot kill. So if you're trying to get somebody to half health, I really need someone like Phoebe who's going to hit for like 22. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I don't know what the future holds, but you know, maybe sometime in the future, maybe we'll revisit this. Because like I said, it would be cool to try to level Finn up and try to get him caught up with everybody else. Melanie, it would be cool to get some money. Maybe not Talon, but maybe Corwin. The first playthrough we definitely went Abigail and then we went Ajax. And this one we used Ajax for a little bit and we used Wesley for 1 or 2 missions. And then we started getting people Fast and Furious that were really good, like Salvador, like Shiva. And there's only so many spots. I mean, Rio is a good paladin, but you know, I stopped using her at some point when I started getting some of these other. Edward is just a beast. 38 agility. But one thing I could do maybe would be don't upgrade, maybe not use the steel so much and then wait for the Zweihanders and the Crucibles and the other cool swords, and then once you get those cool weapons or Crucible weapons, then maybe upgrade them, maybe switch over then. But like I said, you get those weapons so late in the game that to me you kind of need that early damage. In the first playthrough, everybody was basically maxed in everything. They were maxed in attack, they were maxed in this bottom one. But this bottom one takes almost 3,000 gold to upgrade. So what I was doing was I would first upgrade their attack, and then at some point I maybe put 1 or 2 points. This last point is not a big deal, and it costs like an extra 1,000 gold to do that. So I don't think that last point is really needed. But like I said, I could have just waited till I got the Crucible swords, and I would have had, you know, the difference between an iron sword and a Crucible sword is 2 damage. It isn't much, but it's also 10 hit. And you also get 2 upgrade slots. And you can see how powerful some of the upgrade slots are. Like that's an extra 2 attack and 10 hit. But a lot of the specialty weapons don't have any upgrade slots. Like this mace, for example, came with that on it. There was no additions to be made to it. I think the same thing was true with the Zweihander, where there was no upgrade slots to put in there. But I would say this game is probably different than other games you might have played similar where you want everybody on your roster, let's say everybody's level 10 and then you got a guy down here level 4. Well, let me catch this guy up to level 10. Well, you can do that, but instead of, I think you just gotta figure out what you're gonna use and stick to it, and maybe have one or two alternates. And I guess I don't want to do too much spoiler, but I guess the cat's already out of the bag. If you know what direction you're going, that can help plan your roster. But another one that I didn't get this time was Russell. I don't think I ever got Russell. And we saved Russell's caravan. I don't know if it's because I didn't talk to him. I don't know what happened, but I want to say we got Russell the time before. So it's very complex, and the story is very intriguing with lots of twists and turns. And but I don't know. My advice would be use Phoebe, or at least use one dedicated healer for your main 3 guys, Marcus, Skylar, and Elenia. And I don't know, maybe I need to use like a Wesley or Ajax in combination with either a Talon or a Corwin, and take advantage of this vital points. Because sometimes there's nobody to heal, or sometimes you just use a bandage and don't need a healer, and then they could be doing something else. But like I said, the 2 healers that I've used, Cedric and Phoebe. Cedric is really bad. Like I said, look at his stats. He's like a little boy. I mean, Finn's stats start out really bad, but I don't know. Maybe if you stick like agility ring or a skill ring or strength ring on him, and his growth rates are really good. So if you boosted his growth rates up, by the time he gets to the end, I don't know, he might be the best. Because I know that axe he uses is just amazing. It is OP. I mean, just wave after wave after wave after wave after wave of mobs just come in and they just all get killed. But I don't know if I even recorded this, but I think I told you, I think I missed one mission. I think I fell asleep or something, and maybe I forgot to start recording again, or I can't remember, but I basically had sent the Paladin, Douglas, and Elias. There was a map that at the bottom left-hand corner of the map, there was like 7 guys that spawned, and they were chasing me. They were coming after me. And I just sent I think it was the Wesley mission. we had to get Wesley from the top left corner and then bring him to the top right corner. And in the bottom left corner there was seven ads that spawned. And I just sent Elias and Douglas down there just to hold the line to buy me some time. And I think I sent Shiva down there as an archer as well. Shiva hadn't joined my party yet. She was just still in the mission though. And I don't think really Shiva helped at all. She might have got one kill maybe. But after those 7 spawned, another 7 spawned right after that. And those 2 guys killed literally 14 guys by themselves. I mean, you can't do that with an archer. You can't do that. The only way you can do that is either you got a polearm guy or you got a 2-handed blade master with a big great sword or a 2-handed axe or something like that. But I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think the 2-handed axes are more for dealing with the big guys with either heavy armor or the big guys with a big shield. But even the sword masters can deal with the guys with a big shield. I mean, it's not easy, and you usually don't kill them in one turn. Maybe if they're hitting them in the back, but they can still do it. Anyway, thanks for letting me share, guys.